Hey everybody, Joshua here, and man, oh man, do we have a lot to talk about today. So today was Summer Games Fest. I'm recording this, I guess technically I'm recording this after the presentation happened because it's currently 1:38 in the morning as of Saturday, June 6th. If things go well, hopefully you'll be watching this video on June 6th as well, because I'd like to get this out as soon as possible, because there was a lot of good stuff today. So the last time I did one of these videos was back in 2023 when I came back to the channel, and I really haven't covered many Summer Games Fests since then. I haven't really covered any of the Game Awards since, and to be honest, that's because I haven't seen a ton of crazy stuff at any of those shows. The reason I did it in 2023 was because it was just kind of like my return to YouTube, and it was something I just wanted to talk about for a first video. But today, we got Summer Games Fest 2026, and it was packed. So I just want to sit and unpack all of this stuff here today for everybody watching this, and just give my thoughts on a lot of the stuff, because I haven't seen a stream this crazy in a long time. So I'm going to start this out by saying I genuinely believe this is the best Summer Games Fest stream we've gotten so far. There was so much stuff. They just kept the announcements coming. There was really no kind of delay in between the announcements. There was no too much time spent on any singular game. Every game got a decent amount of time to shine before they moved on to the next one, and I think the way they did it was really nice this year. So just jumping into it, I'm going to jump right into it, going down the list in the order of announcements I have pulled up here on my laptop. The first announcement was Resident Evil Code Veronica Remake. Now, I don't know how many of you watching this follow the rumor mill or the leaks of just video games or that whole community, but occasionally I like to check up on it just to see what there is to expect coming out, or being announced rather, soon. So I did see quite a bit of stuff on this game over the past, I want to say, week or so. So I didn't really have it on my mind when I started watching the stream, just because I'm not a huge Resident Evil fan. I've played through 2 Remake, and that's the only one I finished, actually. But I kind of forgot about the rumors until they announced it, and it was the first announcement. So for a first announcement, they're starting off pretty strong with that one. I know a lot of people were anticipating it, a lot of people were hoping for it, and a lot of people are probably really happy about it. It looked very interesting. The trailer was interesting at first, because the way they did it, I don't know much about the original game, but I thought it was an original IP at first. I was in a group chat with a couple of my friends, and none of us really were able to pinpoint that it was a Resident Evil game at first, and I was a little shocked, because I swore some of them at least played it, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe none of them played this game. I definitely didn't. So it didn't stand out to me at first. And then I started seeing the letters flashing. I saw like R-E-V, and I knew. And I thought it was just pretty cool that was the first announcement. I mean, that was pretty big. So then after that, just gonna go right down the list, because there's a lot to talk about, and I don't want to be taking up so much time with this video. But next up was Studio MDHR had an appearance, which I thought was pretty cool, and they announced 2 games. They announced a new Cuphead game, and they announced something that I find really cool, like an 8-bit, 16-bit, I'm not sure what bit it's considered, the website says 8-bit, like a Mega Drive, I think Mega Drive, like faithful to the Mega Drive style game. So that was surprising. That was like a cool announcement that they're kind of making a classic style game. And actually, I saw that they're also releasing it on cartridge as well as modern systems, which is really cool. But obviously the big thing to talk about is the Cuphead sequel. I played through, I want to say, maybe 3/4 of Cuphead. I never managed to finish it. It's a game that I've been meaning to go back and play. I did pick it up again last year. I picked up my old save, and it's just something I gotta finish, especially with the sequel on the way now. But from what I've played, which is a decent amount of the game, I do really enjoy the game, and I have a lot of respect for these developers and just the way they work on games and such. So it's exciting to see a new game coming from them, and they did confirm that it's another completely hand-drawn game, this next sequel, which I think we were expecting from a Cuphead sequel, at least. From these guys, definitely. And you know, if anybody could do it justice, it's obviously going to be these guys. They've proven themselves once with Cuphead. And it's also kind of insane to think about that, the fact that Cuphead's almost a decade old at this point. So I guess it's kind of a given that a new game from them was on the way soon. Whether it was going to be a Cuphead sequel or a new thing, obviously it's a Cuphead sequel, but it'd be cool to see a new thing from them too after this game, just to see what else they're capable of. But I will definitely be looking into the Cuphead sequel. After that, we had Alien Isolation 2, which, again, that was, I think it was rumored for a little while, and then I think Sega might have confirmed it at one point, or they teased it somewhere. I remember seeing like a week or two ago, they made some sort of post. Maybe I don't know if they confirmed it, but we got our first official trailer today, and it looks very interesting. So I never finished the first game, but I have played a little bit of it on 2 or 3 separate occasions. I've been meaning to go back to it. If you know me, you know I'm not a huge horror guy. I've never been into horror movies. Horror games, I was able to, you know, I was more into the games at one point, but over the years I kind of, I don't want to, outgrew isn't the right term, but I kind of like dropped off from them really. But Alien Isolation was always one that was something I kind of wanted to actually try to play through because I've heard so much good about it, and I've played a little bit of it, and it's definitely an interesting game. So I guess I have more of a reason to go back to it now. I'm not sure if I'm going to be picking up the sequel, to be honest, but I mean, if I play through the first game and I really like it, then yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure one of the most highly regarded horror games in modern times, so it's definitely exciting that they had that trailer too. So those 3 announcements alone, like back to back in a row, kind of insane. The next game that they showed, though, that was honestly my highlight. So if you know me, you know that I am a huge fan of Ueda games. I love Shadow of the Colossus. I absolutely adore The Last Guardian. Eco is the only one I haven't finished, but I have started it. And when they announced Project Robot back in 2024, I want to say, the Game Awards, it was a very exciting moment to see, you know, the first teaser of his next game. And since then, I've been waiting to hear more, as a lot of us probably have been that are fans of his games. And today we saw another trailer for the game with, I think, a bit of gameplay. I think it was a mix of gameplay and cinematics. And it looks great. It looks so cool. I can't wait for this game. This is definitely my most anticipated game that was shown today. It's like a mix of Shadow of the Colossus and the Iron Giant. There's a bit of like shooter elements in there, like third-person shooter, but obviously knowing these games and knowing how he makes games, it's probably not going to be super emphasized, because it's just, I don't know, something about his games, I just love them. They're art, but you know, that might be like a statement that, you know, a lot of people throw around a lot, but genuinely, this guy's games, I love them so much, and I can't wait for this game to come out. We didn't get a release date, but we did get confirmation that it's going to be on PS5, Series X and S, and PC, Epic exclusive, but I'm so stoked for this game. I kind of hope that it has a connection to all his previous games. I know that would be a little difficult because technically I'm pretty sure Sony owns all those older IP, but the way his older games are connected are very abstract anyway, and it's not outright stated. It's just kind of throughout glimpses of each game, so I think there's definitely a way to kind of hint that it's connected without actually stating it's connected. obviously for legal reasons, but I think it could be really cool to see this as, like, I don't know, like super far off into the future of the games, or honestly, if you want to switch it up, maybe this is like the beginning. Maybe this happened before everything else, because, you know, a lot of the Colossi and Shadow of the Colossus are made out of strange, you know, material and, like, life force, and I don't know, I think it could be interesting to see where this would fall on that timeline of the other games. I'm going to stop rambling about this game, though, because I could talk about it all day. After that were a couple of smaller titles from, I want to say, lesser-known developers. I'm not entirely... Well, okay. The next one was a NetEase game. Personally, I'm not super interested in their games. I haven't played a ton of them. I think the only game I've played that they published really is Marvel Rivals. But we got another game from those guys, and it looked interesting. It wasn't for me personally, but I'm sure it has its audience. After that was a game called what I imagine is pronounced as HAEX, HAEX, game made by the developers of, or like ex-developers of, I think they said The Division. So when they said that at first, I thought, oh, it's going to be like a spiritual successor to the Division games, but it actually looks really original and like really unique. So it's a game I might check out when it's out. At first I didn't think I would, but seeing the trailer, there were some like crazy things going on with the world and like machinery and this cube, and it just looks like an interesting game. I'm seeing right here that it's apparently a survival game. I didn't really notice that it was a survival game from the trailer, but I'm definitely interested in that one. It's interesting. It's something that I'll keep on my radar, but it's not like a super like standout game that I'm really excited for. But again, so far everything's shown just all hits, all like really good announcements so far. After that we got Stranger Than Heaven gameplay, which I personally am not super interested in the game. I never really played a ton of the Yakuza games. I played a bit of like Zero, and I enjoyed it, but I never finished it. So I'm probably not going to pick up this game, but I have a lot of friends that are very much interested in it, and I don't blame them. I've seen the trailers. I saw the trailer today. It looks really cool and really well made. And today they announced that Tupac is in the game alongside Snoop Dogg, so it's very interesting to see how many celebrities this game has. Just some of them completely out of left field. But game looks great, especially for, you know, for people who enjoy that studio's games, for people who enjoyed that type of gameplay. Another killer announcement, really. After that was an announcement that I absolutely popped off. I was not expecting this. This absolutely blindsided me. But next up, they basically reconfirmed the existence of the Last Ronin game. And if you've been following that game like I have, it was not looking good. It is currently being developed by Platinum Games. I think, like, I forget the publisher, but something happened where they announced layoffs and project cancellations, and things just looked kind of not very hopeful for the game. I always held out a little bit of hope, but I kind of felt like it would have been canceled deep down, because we hadn't heard about this for 3 years. I'm pretty sure it was announced at Summer Games Fest 2023, or I think it was sometime. I think it was just like a Twitter announcement, actually, sometime around like August after Mutant Mayhem came out. But we hadn't heard anything about it after that initial announcement, and I just kind of figured it was canceled. So I absolutely was not expecting them to reconfirm that at Summer Games Fests, of all things. And it's another cinematic trailer. We didn't get a date yet. We got a little bit more of a look at the world, but it looks really cool, and I'm so stoked for that game. That's probably my second most excited announcement from this show. Although I think I was more excited when this one showed up than Gen Atlas, which I don't even think I mentioned the name before, the new Ueda game. But I was more excited when the Last Ronin popped up, just because I thought it was canceled. Like, I knew that the Gen Atlas was gonna come out eventually, but I swear I thought the Last Ronin game was just canned. So that was such a treat to get to see again today. And I really am looking forward to hearing more, hopefully sooner rather than later. I imagine that the reason we didn't see more than another cinematic today was they probably just completely scrapped and like restarted the project. So, I mean, a TMNT Last Ronin game made by the Bayonetta and like Nier devs, I'm all for that, and that's probably going to be a day one purchase for me. After that was some little indie game where you try not to break an egg, which was kind of interesting. It's nice to see indies getting spotlights at these kinds of shows. Probably not a game I'd play personally, but I know it has its audience, so just a quirky little game in the middle of everything. After that was a game developed by ex-Naughty Dog devs, and they mentioned a few other companies. It's escaping me right now, but I'll throw it up on the screen somewhere. The like ex-devs of this game. Personally, this one was very confusing to me. The game's called Crossfire, and it's like I guess it's a cover shooter game, but the trailer didn't really give us a lot to go off of. It just looks like another third-person shooter. Personally, this one kind of was the first miss of the show for me, but I don't know. We didn't see enough to really judge it, I guess. And the devs behind it, the developers, I know that they'll probably put out something pretty good, so only time will tell. They showed Control after that. They confirmed a new Guild Wars game. I'm just going to speed through a lot of these because I'm hitting almost the 20-minute mark. Guild Wars game, Guild Wars 3, fall 2027. Again, nothing I was super interested in. They showed a new Gundam game, which looked really cool. I've never been like a huge Gundam guy. I always thought the robots looked cool. The model kits I was never even like considering getting into because of how intricate they are, but I always respected the franchise and like the designs of the giant Gundams as a whole. And this game looked really cool. It's a mech game with melee focused combat, and I think that's kind of interesting and cool. Personally, I think it's more interesting than ranged combat. I tried a bit of Armored Core like half a year ago, and it didn't really stick with me. This game, I think I'd be able to actually like stick with and play through. After that, we got another trailer for the pod racing game, which again, not really interesting to me. It's a game we already knew about. It looked fast. It reminded me a little bit of F-Zero with like Star Wars, so maybe fans of those two franchises with the crossover there. I'm sure there's an overlap somewhere with those two franchises, so I'm sure some people will be happy with that. Personally, I'm probably not going to pick it up, but we got a release date, October 6th, so that one's coming out this year. They showed off a new Virtua Fighters game, Virtua Fighter. It had a very interesting looking story mode gameplay in the trailer today. Nothing I've ever really seen from this franchise. Again, I've never been a huge fan of this game either. I've played a little bit of it, I'm sure, in arcades, but this one didn't really hook me either, but I know there's definitely a fan base for it, so it's cool that they announced a new game for everybody, and it's only coming out a year from now. After that was a RuneScape, I think, spin-off? They showed this at the PlayStation State of Play. I've never played a ton of RuneScape other than old school RuneScape, but for what it is, it looks decent. Just nothing I'd play. After that was a new game from the Assassin's Creed creator. We are getting a prologue. I think it's out right now, actually. I haven't checked it out. It looked interesting, and it's cool to see the guy, making games outside of the company. I actually recently just played through the first Assassin's Creed, and I really enjoyed it. So it's cool to see, him coming up with new stuff. After that was a Saw game, which, again, I'm not super into horror. It looked interesting at first. I thought it was like a narrative sort of story game, single-player story game, but then at the very end, I saw on the bottom, it said a 3 versus 1 game. And I think that probably might have just kind of turned a decent amount of people off from the game. I was never going to pick it up from the start, but I don't know. I think maybe if it's, as long as it's not like another Dead by Daylight type of game, maybe it won't be such a big deal. But I think a lot of people are expecting a single player game from that trailer they showed. They didn't really show anything to indicate it was a multiplayer game until that very end. But we did get Jigsaw on the stage with Jeff Keighley, which was something. It was very interesting. It was a moment you only get at one of Jeff Keighley's shows, so it's another reason why we love these shows. There was a lot today, man. I'm still going through all of this stuff. I'm almost at the bottom. I'm gonna speed through these a little bit more to wrap up this video. After that was I think a Souls-like type game. I just played it on my computer, so I'm gonna mute that. But Lords of the Fallen, it's called. So another Souls-like, from what I could tell. Looks interesting, but to be honest, I was saying this with a couple of my friends in the group chat who are also, they're bigger Souls fans than I am, but I feel like there's a big oversaturation in the game market with these Souls-like games. I know this is a sequel to an existing game, but that game is only from 3 years ago, so it's not like a new thing that people have been waiting for a while. Personally, I just feel like there are too many of these kind of Souls-like games, and it'd be nice to see developers kind of tackle another gameplay style. Because to me, personally, if I'm going to play a Souls game, I'm just going to play a FromSoft game. But I'm sure this game will have its dedicated fan base. I mean, obviously the first one was good enough to warrant a sequel. So, again, happy for the people who were excited for this. It's just not a game I'm personally going to play. But again, still a pretty decent announcement. After that was some sort of vampire game, which looked kind of interesting, but I don't think it was for me. It looked interesting. And it's a new IP, which I think it's a new IP, which is always nice to see. And it was announced today, and it's out this year. So that's, again, really nice to see. It's only out in about 3 months, in September. So basically a vampire game. We got a Star Wars game after that, which is like sort of an RTS style game. I was never really able to get into those games, but it makes sense. I mean, Star Wars seems to branch out into all sorts of genres when it comes to their games. After that, for some reason, they brought out Among Us stuff. They announced a new Among Us, believe it or not, narrative, like single-player game. And then they kind of just shadow dropped the animated show, which I didn't even know was a thing. Personally, I haven't been really into this game since it came out 6 years ago, so it's nothing I'm going to be checking out. But again, it's always nice to see indie devs getting a spotlight, and especially, I mean, the show had some crazy actor, like they got Elijah Wood for some reason, and I know he did Over the Garden Wall, so he's not like new to cartoons, but it's interesting to see the cast they got for a show based on an indie game. So it's cool to see indie games take off like this. I do like to see it, even if the game isn't for me. They announced a new Monster Hunter expansion after that one, which is coming out sometime next year. There was a new Hot Wheels game, which I actually did play a little bit of, I think, the last one, and it was decent, but I never played a ton of it, because, I mean, there are so many other racing games out there. I just kind of tried it, and stuck with my other racing games. After that was an Attack on Titan 3rd video game. And the next announcement was a pretty big one. They announced The Wolf Among Us 2 again, which I think was I just saw a post, which was like the third time they announced it, but they gave a 2027 launch window, which is huge, because I know people have been waiting for this game for a while. I never played the first game, but they also announced a remaster of the first game coming out this holiday season, so perfect time for me to check it out, I guess. I know a lot of people like the game, so I might just check it out. I had a friend in the call who was very happy that this was announced too, so that was nice. And then we're coming up to the last few announcements. There was a new Stellar Blade game, which, again, nice to see a sequel coming out so soon after the first game, especially when it comes to like modern gaming development standards. So it's cool. It's not a game I'm gonna play. I didn't play the first one. I know it has its fan base though, and it's cool to see that they put out a new game so quickly, or at least announced a new game so quickly. They didn't give us a date, I don't think, but from what we've seen, it wasn't just a teaser, it was a full-on announcement trailer with cinematics and I believe gameplay. So that was nice to see, you know, so much of a game so soon after the last one when it comes to, I don't know if you consider it AAA or AA, but you know, again, in this industry, when it comes to modern development standards, it's kind of unheard of. And the last two announcements were, they announced Tifa in Street Fighter 6 and 3 other characters who look pretty cool. I'm not a huge Street Fighter fan. I played 5. I played a little bit of the arcade machines, but it's nothing that I'm really good at. So it's nothing that resonates with me personally, but it is cool to see such a highly regarded like video game character join another highly regarded video game series. And then obviously that led into the final announcement, which was Final Fantasy VII Part 3, or as it's known now, Revelation. So that was pretty cool to see. I still haven't played Rebirth. I played through the first Part 1 remake back when that came out. I enjoyed it. And I just never got around to playing Rebirth, and I need to now because they announced that, what is this one called? Revelation is coming out next spring. It's not a holiday 2027 title. It's not a 2028 title. It's a spring 2027 title, which again is very soon when it comes to modern development standards. I don't have a lot I could say about this because, again, I haven't played Rebirth, so I don't know the events that led into this trailer, but it looked really cool. There's a skydiving mechanic, kind of similar to Tears of the Kingdom, or, I mean, honestly, gotta say it, Fortnite. It reminded me a bit of. But mainly, for me personally, Tears of the Kingdom. So it's a similar thing. You could just fly the airship to a place on the map, and then just kind of dive and land, seemingly without any loading times, like Tears of the Kingdom. You could play as multiple characters in combat. The combat looked really cool, just switching back and forth between characters super quickly. And one of the most exciting things about the launch that they announced is it's coming to every single platform at the same time. So PS5, Xbox Series consoles, Switch 2, PC, all on the same day. Which is nice to see, because for a while these games were like PlayStation timed exclusives, at least with the first remake part, and then Part 2, Rebirth, we just got that on Switch recently, or I don't even know if it's out yet. And so it's nice to see that everything's releasing at the same time. I'm excited for this game. I've really got to play Rebirth now. And then I'll pick this one up in the spring. And, you know, they're getting this one done in the spring. The remake trilogy is going to be done, which is going to be kind of crazy, because I remember back when they announced it back in, like, 2015 at E3. So, like, 11 years later, it's going to wrap up. And after that, they're just focusing on Dragon Quest and Kingdom Hearts. Bros, stay strong. We're going to get our game soon. I hope. But for now, we got Final Fantasy on the way, which is very exciting. So that was everything announced today at Summer Games Fest 2026. And again, I genuinely think that was the best show they've done yet. I don't know what to say. It was really exciting, and I really respect Jeff Keighley for putting together, and obviously everybody else involved, for putting together such a great show this year. And it's nice to see people doing stuff like this that clearly care about the industry and clearly care about gaming, and say what you want about Jeff, but genuinely I think he does truly care about gaming and the industry as a whole. So it's nice to see that we got a really strong stream this year, and I'm definitely more optimistic about the future of these shows now, because again, I did the video in 2023. I was actually looking back on it before I recorded this, and I mentioned that I didn't see a ton in that stream for me. So 3 years later, just having so much packed into one stream that I'm excited for, and a lot of other people I'm sure are too. It's nice to see the growth of this stream. So that's about it for the main show. Sunday we have the Xbox Showcase. I may do a sort of coverage podcast thingy on that, depending on what's announced. I was going to do one on the State of Play, but that one wound up being very, very average, so I decided not to. The Xbox One I might. I'm looking forward to hearing more about Halo Campaign Evolved, with the rumored release date of next month. So if we get some cool stuff at the announcement, or at the show Sunday, you could maybe expect another video like this. But as of now, I've been rambling for about 35 minutes without cutting down this audio at all, and I plan to keep it pretty unedited, save for a few hiccups that I had along the recording. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up now, so I stop yapping for nearly 40 minutes. So thanks for watching, and thank you to everybody behind the honestly incredible stream today. Glad we got a lot of cool stuff that I'm sure a lot of us are very excited for. So for real, thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next video, maybe about the next stream. Hope you have a good day, good night, good afternoon, whatever time it is that you're watching this. And take care of yourselves, and I'll see you guys next time. Later.